Alright, and welcome to another Wargame European Escalation multiplayer match. I'm DigitalAdhesive, and we are back on Blitz today. As usual, I'm representing the Warsaw Pact, and I'm going up against, well, who else? NATO. Now, my usual approach for this map is to take Charlie, and in a lot of matches I've played, a surprising amount of people don't want to fight over Charlie. At least that's been my experience. I'm sure a lot of the pro players, people who've been playing for as long as the game's been out, will fight tooth and nail over Charlie. But generally speaking, I've been able to get it pretty uncontested just by having a good show of force here. And what I want to do this match is, I'm already kind of running on a bit of a sugar high from my success with the Motschützen last game, and I want to see how far I can push it, how much I can get away with spamming Motschützen, and whether I can attain objectives that are worth the cost of a whole bunch of infantry squads. I have a pretty standard opening here, standard for myself at least, a BRDM, command armor, flanked by two Tunguskas. Let me see, I get my usual 4 T-80s, but this time I break them up into 2 squads of 2. And I'm trying to get away with securing points with fewer resources than I normally spend. When I first started playing this game, I would spend a lot of resources getting a lot of units to take 1 point. And now I'm more confident in my abilities to defend than I was when I first started playing. So I'm trying to get away with doing more with fewer units. So I've got, let me see, got a Kolos, 2 infantry squads, a Tunguska, and 2 T-80s. I'm going to send them over to Alpha. I'm not going to secure Alpha, or rather I'm not going to take it with command armor for now, but I want guys there. I want people to be able to see what's going on. I want to cut off the approaches from these 2 bridges, so later on I can wheel up a command armor and just take it at my leisure. And I have the same split over here. Same deal. A Tunguska, 2 infantry units, 2 T-80s, and a Kolos, and I take 2 bucks, each with a dedicated Kolos, and I want to put them over here so I can have a nice show of force from Charlie to Golf, because I'm worried, as usual, about enemy helicopters. I don't want any helicopters to be able to do anything in this area. So 2 bucks, each with their own dedicated resupply vehicle. I figure that should seal the deal just fine. And for Charlie, I have, let me see, what do I have? I have 4 T-55s, obvious command armor, Tunguska, and 2 Shrooms broken up so they're not in a squad together. And I have infantry as well. And this is also a game where I tried using Malkas for artillery. Wasn't too impressed. They do a great damage, but boy, compared to the Danas, they have accuracy issues, and I think I'm going to be going back to the Danas. Alright, so my opponent has got some Hueys loaded up with troops. I think these guys are Delta Force, and these guys are, I don't know if they're Dragons or other anti-tank. He's got a Zippo here, which I really haven't encountered much. Scout helicopter, a bunch of mortar carriers. And it looks like he's leaving Echo alone. He's going to be concentrating over by Hotel in India. I don't really see him sending much over to Charlie, although he is dropping some infantry down here. Of course, the funny thing is the last place I'm going to attack is Charlie. I'm not going to go across these 2 bridges. I just want to secure it. So I think putting soldiers here to guard without any intention to capture is a little bit of a waste, but it's not a lot of points. Alright, so he's got his Huey that he's sending over here, I guess over to these woods. I probably would have sent it over here a little bit farther away, and here's why. He's pulling up, he's about to set down. I've got my 2 T-80s here, and as he's setting down to land, boom, Tunguska shoots the Huey down just as it's landing. 6 Delta Force managed to survive the crash, And I don't know they're there. As far as I know, I just splashed a helicopter. No big deal. No big deal. I send my troops in to take these woods and try and establish a good perimeter around Gulf. And of course, with me as usual, I bring my cup of coffee. Oh, I love my coffee. And my orange soda, as you all know. But I've stopped drinking orange soda during these commentaries because it makes me belch, and no one needs to hear me belch. Not without paying admission, at least. Alright, so 2 T-80s are set up with a good view of the bridge. My bucks are in position, and I've secured Alpha with my forces here. And I'm ready to bring in command armor at some point. As Delta Force, they were a little spooked. They were routing to the east, and now they're coming back. And he's setting up a position on Hotel. He's got Dragon infantry, some Fushes. He's got his Zippo in the woods there, his mortar teams. And I don't know what he's doing with that. Oh, I guess the Huey just dropped off the troops and it's just sort of chilling there. And he's got his scout helicopter. Now, I'm not sure what the difference between the Kiowas and the Gazelles are, recon-wise. Maybe if one of you guys out there knows which one is better, let me know. I'd be interested to hear that. And I start taking some pot shots with my Malkas. And I'm just firing blind. Now, this is pretty interesting. He brings in a command vehicle. And it's an unarmored command vehicle. And you should always get an armored command vehicle. Always, always, always. It's only 20 points more. And I start shelling just blindly, and look at this. Look at this. Mora is just driving in. He's all, I'm gonna be, oh no! Whoa, God, that came close. But I'm still calm. He's still calm. Let's drive through the suburban neighborhood. Oh, pow! There goes a residence right there. And he has only 2 hit points left. The splash on that was enough to put this Jeep on fire. Now, he got lucky here, but man, if that had been, I don't know, 5 yards closer to him, he probably would have been dead. Probably would have been dead. So now I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Again, you know, I went into this thinking that I want to try something bold with infantry, and I've just got my setup here where I'm feeling pretty confident in how secure my lands are. I'm bringing in a command armor down here by Delta. It's going to go over to Gulf. Things are going to be fine. Going to bring in those extra points. You know, Bob's your uncle. It'll be good. He's bringing in some artillery here to back up his mortars. I still don't see his Delta Force, although my helicopter is creeping a little bit closer. And his Delta Force are hidden by this hedgerow. I might have moved them into the woods a little bit, but still, I mean, they're hidden well enough, I guess. I see his Kiowa coming across the river, but my anti-air is a little farther back than I'd like it. But he comes closer, takes it out, and boom! The Mi-2 spots a Delta Force, and the T-80s do the rest. So he's got no eyes left over here. And thank you again, whoever recommended I get the best Tunguskas instead of the cheap ones. I think, again, that was Axel Schultz, because the best Tunguskas fire a missile that does 5 hit points worth of damage. Most helicopters only have 5 hit points worth of damage, so if you're doing less than that, you need to hit them twice. You need to hit them with 2 missiles to take them out. And I think it's only about 15 points more for the best Tunguska. So, points well spent. Alright, so we have Gulf secured now. I'm hiding out in the woods. I've got a narrow, if comfortable lead of 155 points. Still no action over on the Echo Alpha side. No big deal. Bring in some more infantry. I believe I'm bringing up to these woods here, which he is now shelling with mortars. He probably doesn't realize I don't have anything there except just a recon helicopter. Although I have seen videos where helicopters have gotten hit by artillery and destroyed, which is like a total shit shot. You know, it's don't happen often, but it's pretty hilarious when it does. I Do I see his Jaegers there, or am I just firing blind? I don't know. I don't see anything there, but I'm just making an educated guess that he's got something in these woods, and lo and behold, he does. Although I only got a couple shots off. No, I guess I'm just... The Malkas take a little while to rearm. So still, not much happening. Got a secure perimeter, got a slight lead, and just doing some arty shots here. And he's returning fire with his offals, and some mortar teams. I do love the explosions, the big AoE radius of these shells when they connect, but oof. But they fire slow and they ain't that accurate. Gotta go back to my Danas. And he's returning fire. I don't know if he's trying to shoot my Malkas or if he's just taking shots at the woods, but he goes closer than I'd like for comfort. And I believe this game is to 2,000 points. He's got a Kiowa, shooting him on Mount Schützen, doing a good job of stunning them, and they're out of range. And so he kills about 8 men, and I realize that they're exposed, and I pull them back. Still just kind of spinning our wheels right now, trying to figure out what to do. And right now I'm waiting for the points for to buy a bunch of infantry. Oh, and the Tunguska takes another good shot. Thank you again, Axel Schultz. It's proving its worth. I bring in 2 more Malkas, and upon reflection I would have rather spent that on other stuff. So let's zip ahead a little bit. See, not much is happening, just lobbing some artillery over, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so now I call in 7 units of Mauschützen over here, and the battle for Hotel Hill is about to commence. I want to see how far I can go with just Mauschützen, going across a narrow bridge, going by force. Just trying to bludgeon my way over there with nothing more than maybe a little bit of artillery support. Because, hey, these units are cheap. And as I was playing it and glancing at the replay of it, I realized it was a pretty cinematic fight. And you're going to have to indulge me. I really want to show off just how brutal this upcoming battle is. And even with the relatively limited graphics of this game, and the game is gorgeous, but it doesn't go out of the way to depict horrific violence. Like, there's no gibs or anything like that, but there don't need to be gibs. I was cringing when I saw this fight happen. Another Kiowa comes in, trying to get a bead on whatever's in the woods here, and once again the Tunguska answers along with the buck, and no more recon helicopter. Alright, just bear with me 1 second here. I just have to adjust the setting real quick. Alright. And my 7 units decide to charge, going across the bridge, and we are going to slow things down a little bit. You will have to indulge me here. Oh boy, what a mess. Look at this. Look at all those units up on that hill. Look at that artillery flying in the air. And oh God! And you know, a whole bunch of these people are gonna die. They're dead men. They're dead men walking, and it's almost a little depressing. You can see up on the hill here, firing those ATGMs down. just barely missing. The Machschützen approach. The BMPs returning fire, leaving a big trail of dust. And I just want you to imagine for a second, imagine that this isn't a game, that these are actual people. These are young men rushing to their own deaths. There's no East and West here. There's no capitalism versus communism. There's just young, frightened men opening fire on each other, fighting because they're told they should. It brings to mind Wilfred Owen, dulce et decorum est pro patria more, the old lie that it is sweet and right to die for your country. Think about it, all the people fighting here to take this hill, to defend this hill. All got families and friends. Some are gay, some are straight. They have all different philosophies on life, the universe, and everything. All over a hill. All over a hill. The first squad has taken too many hits and is forced to fall back under this relentless barrage of fire from the martyrs on the left side of the hill and the infantry on the right. A dragon team remains here, and the artillery starts to fall, raining down on the retreating Alpha squad. Dragon teams open up on the Bravo squad as the shells of the artillery work on the remnants of Alpha. It's a small team up there, it's only 5 men, but they're in a good position. But now the Machschützen are in range and they return fire on the old A position. The APCs, or BMPs rather, move up as well to try and take out the remnants of the squad here and maybe even draw some fire. And that's all she wrote from the Dragon squad. They're all dead. Shells continue to rain down, but Alpha Squad is retreating across the bridge now, out of range. Bravo's moving up to try and secure the hill. don't know what's in the woods. They know obviously there's some artillery, whether they're offals or whether they're mortar carriers, who's to say. But there's a bunch. There's a lot of enemy in those woods ahead. But the infantry charge has taken the southern part of the hill. They're moving up to try and secure the tree line. The BMPs are getting a little overzealous, moving up toward the road. And then from out of the forest comes every foot soldier's worst nightmare. A flame tank, a Zippo, just firing out gouts of flame, just bathing those BMPs in fire. Look how high that's going. That's got to be, I don't know, 50 feet, 100 feet in the air. The BMPs draw the worst of it at the very beginning, getting hosed down. At the infantry, just start to see this big fireball. They charge up, which would be the last charge that they make. The BMPs give in to the unrelenting fire from that Zippo. And with the armor destroyed, the Zippo sees its new target. The remains of Bravo Squad. And it is merciless in its cruelty, hosing them down, just bathing them in this massive gout of fire. And by this point, if the flames weren't enough, Bravo Squad moves close enough to the tree line that the soldiers inside, the NATO troops, can open up and shoot the burning corpses down. One remaining soldier runs. He doesn't get far, though. Now, the packed artillery comes in. Too late for Bravo Squad, but it whistles in for revenge, flying through the air, trying to find its mark in these woods. The damaged command vehicle is still there, parked. It's too late for Bravo Squad, but the shells may very well soften up the woods for the next wave. Charlie Squad, pulling up by the charred remnants of this hill, keeping the hill between them and whatever soldiers remain in the woods here. Fresh soldiers, soldiers that haven't had contact with the Warsaw Pact's forces yet, but that will soon change. BMP's park. And out of them, less than 100 meters away from these unsuspecting native soldiers, Charlie Squad, crews of Spetsnaz pile out and begin a surprise attack. Things don't go too well for the northernmost squad. That takes the brunt of the NATO barrage. Several Spetsnaz getting cut down immediately. immediately upon exiting, but they paved the way for the remainder of Charlie's squad as they rush up the hill. And let loose their AK-74 SUs. Fighting mere yards away from each other, just charging so close that they could practically use bayonets. Don't know who that man was. He's wearing a German uniform though. The BMP explodes right next to some NATO armor. Intense close quarters woods combat with both light armor and soldiers alike. The Spetsnaz only have light rockets. They're meant to be infantry killers, not armor killers, but their RPGs still manage to take their toll. And the armor in the woods is helpless. As the RPG man fires almost point blank at the NATO armor. More BMPs arrive. The Dragon, or rather the Zippo tank, charges the woods, trying to root out the packed soldiers. It's under assault from both sides. As it enters the woods, the combined withering fire from both sides is shredded, entombing the soldiers inside. More fire now from mortars this time. Rain down on the scene of the first scene of the battle. Shooting at nothing, though. Sending nice clumps of dirt and grime up into the air. More soldiers for assault the hill. Perhaps the remains of Alpha Squad that regained its composure and pulled itself together on the other side of the hill. Now with the Zippo having failed, the mortar team fires on the woods, trying to pepper the soldiers before they're able to pull themselves out and assault the northern part of the woods. Let's look at that. It's almost pretty, the crossing of artillery rounds. BMPs pull up on the outskirts of the northern wood. Some light armor from the NATO side crosses up on top of the hill, trying to get a better angle. packed BMPs and taken the southern part of the northern wood line and opened fire along with these two to the west. It's hard to find the words almost, but you don't really need to. Just look at all that fire, all that smoke. The Awfuls are very close now, trying to rain near point-blank fire on those BMPs and fend off attacks from troop carriers. And this so far is the result of the battle for Hotel Hill. It's not enough, though. Even though the southern part of the hill has been completely secured, or if not secured, the NATO forces have been driven out, yet more squads of infantry are being sent forward. The artillery rounds from the pack side are being blind fired. There's no idea of specifics toward the location of the NATO forces, just vague ideas. But those shells are large enough that the hope for the pack side is that it really doesn't matter. Two mortars, a mortar carrier, and artillery are all that remain in the northern part of the woods. And it appears I misspoke. This is the rush of the Spetsnaz. I believe the troops that came in to the woods prior to these were most likely more Machschützen. And these Spetsnaz were also brought in by accident. I meant to bring in more Machschützen or perhaps VPZUs, but I misclicked here, as Spetsnaz are not what you want to use when you know you're going to be dealing with armor. Helicopter rush over here. Some Apaches come in against the Havocs as the Spetsnaz prepare themselves for an assault on the northern forest. The Havocs do their job, though, backed up by the Tunguska. Although one does sustain some damage. remaining anti-air missiles just streak out at nothing. The Apaches having been brought down already by the previous salvos. This one manages to make it all the way back across the hill. And the Spetsnaz finally move out. Trying to drive the remaining NATO forces out of that northern wood and finally take the hill. Like the push is going to be successful. The third or fourth wave of infantry looks like it finally may take the hill. Panzer Grenadiers don't last a second. Just torn to shreds instantly by the combined fire of the BMPs. And here come the Spetsnaz. Their job mostly done for them. They move up to secure the woods. Huey retreats. And artillery continues to rain down. If there are people living in there when that happened, or if they managed to get evacuated beforehand. I wonder what I would do in that situation, if I would leave or if I would try and huddle in my basement. I don't know. One martyr, one left, damaged, on fire, backing up, trying to leave. And that's it, lads. The hill is ours. And we bring in 2 Mi-28 Havocs and 2 Mi-24Ps. Try and finish the job. See some Jaeger infantry. Rain some shots down on them. Weather the storm of some fire, catch some Abrams, it looks like, trying to escape into the wood line where they can maybe, hopefully, possibly do something to push back the Spetsnaz on the hill. Out of immediate danger. And this Huey has the bad luck of crossing the paths of those two Havocs. And the autocannons make quick work of it, and anyone who's inside. The Jaegers have been pulled back to the forest. With the Abrams retreating into the woods and the Huey lost in the forest. The pack of helicopters go search for more fresh prey. Panzer Grenadiers make a desperate charge into the woods, but with no recon and only 10 in one squad, they're almost immediately cut down. Martyrs finally destroyed. The two remaining Awfuls open fire on the Spetsnaz, doing noticeable damage to them, but the helicopters are already en route. The two Havocs and two Hinds may not be able to see the Awfuls, but they can see where the fire's been coming from, and they quickly swoop down. Zayufels have been harassing the packed side relentlessly for the entire war, the entire battle, rather. And now it's time for some revenge. You can see the supply helicopter coming by to resupply the Spetsnaz. And it doesn't take much. It's not even a remotely fair fight. Those two Awfuls are done for now. Two Futches stunned in front of the 4 Abrams and the Sultan in the woods. Dulce et decorum est pro patria more.